And we're live.
Welcome everyone to ChiroSecure Facebook Live. I'm Dr. Sherry McAllister, the president of the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, and I have so much information I'm excited to give to you today. It's really about chance. Now think about that word just for a moment, chance. What does that mean? It means there's opportunity for success as a chance, and there's opportunity for failure. Well, today we will not let you fail. At the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, we are a united profession all about making change, progress, and the entire profession can benefit. And today's webinar is going to be no different than that. I want to first start off with how I always do, those that are supporting us to make fantastic opportunities happen. ChiroSecure is definitely one of them, and we can't do this without them. It's this sponsorship that helps us make progress throughout the year. Well, let's talk about 3 practice building opportunities for success. There are 3 today. It's going to be fun, it's going to be fast, and we're going to move through this material furiously. So stay with me as we build the chance for change. What does that really look like? Let me tell you a little story that happened on the weekend. And one of it is involved with the roadmap. My husband and I were on a hike, and it was behind a winery, and there was a beautiful path. And I said to him, let's take it. And it just kept going down and down and down. And it was beautiful. I mean, pristine, gorgeous as a summit to a mountain. But all of a sudden, my husband said, the farther you go down, the harder it is to go back up if this is not a loop. And finally, I thought to myself, he's right. This is going to be quite a climb to go back up. And it was that moment that I wished I had gone back into the winery and said, is there a road map? So that I knew it was a circle, because it would have been a lot more fun knowing where I was going. So that's opportunity number 1, the monthly marketing roadmap. So what exactly am I talking about? Well, there is a wise man who once said, think about this. A roadmap is a GPS. And we're going to use the word nowhere. When someone is lost, their first response is, I'm nowhere. They have no coordinates. They have no idea where they are. Well, when you have a marketing roadmap in place for your entire clinic to use, everybody knows their GPS coordinates. In fact, you go from the word nowhere to now here. Same word, just split. And that's what the marketing roadmap is. Your dollars in marketing need to make sense. Just like everything else you do, whether it's treating the patient, you use best practices, or how much money you're going to spend on supplies for your practice. The dollars have to make sense. And that's why you cannot forget how important marketing is to your practice. This is how the public sees you. And we want that public to see you as the expert in your community. Therefore, a marketing roadmap is imperative to success. And that's why I like to think April is a perfect opportunity to spring into that. We're now in March, so having a roadmap ready to go for April is absolutely imperative. And as we go through and show you a little bit about this roadmap, what do you want in your roadmap? Well, you want to have it laid out so the entire staff knows week by week what's going to happen. And so let's just go to week 2 as an example. You have a strategy and you have an action step. And as you can see right here, pump up your progress webinars and social media. You want to be consistent and persistent in reaching out, not only in your marketplace by your patients currently, but also on your social media networks. The more they see you, the more comfortable they are with the materials that we're providing. But also recall that when they see you on social media, they can refer their friends and family. And we all love that. The best patients are the patients that are referred to you. And I know as you sit watching this Facebook Live right now, that's the drill that you want. You want the patients that already love you referring their friends and family. Now, one piece of this is the second part. You will see we have a brand new resource, and it's called the CA Handbook. And I want to let you know that that CA handbook is going to be imperative as you spring clean your practice. That's right. I said we're going to spring clean our practice. Remember, this is a chance for change. And as we go into April, we want to change the things that are not working. We want to build on what is working, and we want to advance our chiropractic messaging so that everyone in your neighborhood is going to be benefiting from the information here. So one piece of that is your front desk. When was the last time you sat down with your front office staff to talk about procedures? Don't worry, we have you. We know that it takes time and it takes materials to have the front desk, which, by the way, is the first thing someone sees. So let's say that patient that loves you refers their friend, and that friend really knows nothing about you but the social media posts that you do, or that person that referred says you're the greatest thing they've ever had in healthcare. Well, that friend walks in, and guess who they walk into first? That's right, it's your front desk. And that front desk needs to be armed with best practice procedures. What does that look like? That's where the chiropractic assistant's handbook comes in, because an assistant handbook tells you the best ways to handle what's going to be happening. And I want to share with you what that table of content looks like. Here we are. There's 9 chapters. Do you know what that means? There's 9 opportunities to you sit down with your staff. Take them for coffee, take them for lunch, go through each one. Don't make it mandatory reading to do all of it, because I will tell you, just like you and I, if we're given Kirkcaldy Willis's book, we're not going to digest it all in one sit down. We're going to have to go through it chapter by chapter. There's no better way to change your practice for success than talking it through with your staff, because your staff are you. They're the first people that are going to be introduced to your outstanding practice. As we go through, what if you think of hiring a chiropractic assistant? Because now is the time. We have been through a pandemic, and some have left and gone on to other jobs, and you may be thinking about hiring that next chiropractic assistant. Do it with quality in mind. And then look at all the pieces that come with hiring a new chiropractic assistant. Chapter 9 will tell you what you should be looking for. So know that we have you, because part of this is making it easy. If your marketing dollars are complex, they won't get done. So one piece of this, let's just talk about something very simple: telephone etiquette. 10 steps to the best way to answer the phone. Let's just go to number 6, smile at the caller. You will be surprised, even at yourself, when you're talking to a patient, if you start smiling. Now I'm smiling right now, and you can tell my voice changed. I'm excited. I'm excited to be with you, and I'm enthusiastic and cheerful to be able to serve patients. And that's one of the things that we want our front desk and our front office staff to always think about. 10 steps to answering the phone with the best opportunity for success. It seems simple. Now, what words would you not want your staff to use? Have you ever even thought about it? Well, let's look at this next slide, because the reality is you have a caller on the call, and that first 15 seconds of every phone call is actually crucial to your image. So why wouldn't you take the time to sit down with your front office and all of your staff and ask them not to use certain words? For example, please approve this paperwork. That's a better way than saying sign here. These are small, but they're imperative to how your practice feels when a patient's there. If your patient says something out loud and says, oh, that's an old patient, well, we all know what that means, but what we really want to say is that's an established patient. Now, if you're talking to your patient, you don't say, do you understand? Because it can actually come off kind of, well, harsh. How about we say, how do you feel about this? So we get their input. It's softer. It's the approach that makes people feel confident in the care that they're receiving. And if you start taking the chance for change, your clinic will spring into action this spring. In Chapter 7, it's part of ancillary services. What do you offer in your office, and how do you want your office staff to talk about them? In this example right here, it's ultrasound. Some CAs, if you go to them right now and you ask, what is ultrasound? They have no idea. If a patient asks, they're not going to make you look good. So we want to make sure that our staff really does understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. And sometimes we get so busy in what we're doing, we forget that there's a whole staff supporting us. And when we talk about the patient, I want to give you a story that is a true story in my practice. I went through the script of talking to patients on the phone. It may only take you a minute, but it could save you thousands of dollars. One of them was a patient that called in. It was an established patient that got into a motor vehicle accident. We had just run through the script with the staff answering the phone, and not just getting the established patient in, but that next extra question, which is crucial for success. Was there anybody else in the car that we could schedule? Is your office staff asking that question? You may think they are, but you want to remind them, because we all get busy, and this is an important question. There happened to be 6 people in that car. And that means 6 more visitors to my office, all of them scheduled. And that's what we want to make sure that we think about as we move our practice into the spring into change. Webinars. Why are webinars important? Well, you can see there's 2 colors on the screen. One is blue and one is green. One is for the doctor to sharpen their saw. Now, these are short, right to the point webinars. Corporate wellness in the pandemic world. Why is that important to you? You want to be on the latest, greatest information that's out there, and you want to be able to use it for your best interest. So you will learn something about how the corporations are looking at wellness, and you might have a human resource individual walk into your office and you start talking to them about what is their corporation doing for wellness care. You never know where questions will go. These are great for you to take a lunch break and just spend some time eating your lunch and updating your skill set. There's also a green one here, and that green one is for your office staff. All you ever wanted to know about the chiropractic manipulative treatment, the CMT codes, but we're afraid to ask. Having your front desk in your office watching these webinars means that they're going to come back to you with questions. And that opens up conversations on how you do things and what the best practice for your office is. If you're a silver member with the Foundation for Chiropractic Progress, these are on demand. So watch for them, utilize them, because what they do is sharpen your clinical skill sets and office procedures. We have one for both, one for you and one for your CA. Webinar recordings are important because now if you're a silver member, you can go back and say, you know what, I missed the relevant rehabs for headaches, when to treat and when to refer. You can go back and watch those. They're all there for you. I will tell you, the discounts preventing legal issues getting paid the right way, huge success. If you missed it, if you're a silver member, go back and watch it. It was outstanding, and we got huge accolades on that one. As you see, the road is broke in this. Now you get to choose, are you going to go left or are you going to go right? How am I going to ensure that my dollars are working for me? Monthly marketing roadmaps. You have to do them. If you're not doing them yourself, join the foundation, make your own with us that's already made for you, and you just have to implement with your staff. Having a CA handbook that you can actually share with your CAs, make it a point of conversation. And make maybe every week just 1 or 2 pages out of it. It's an excellent way to ensure all best practice etiquettes are being put into place. And last, your third option for optimizing your success, the webinars, because all of us have that moment where we feel a little deflated. I mean, we've worked through an epidemic and we've worked through a pandemic. And these are opportunities to fill yourself back up with chiropractic goodness. Speaking of chiropractic goodness, we have the F4CP updates. This is a moment where I can just share with you what the profession as a unified voice across the nation is doing. First and foremost, you already know, there is an Olympic commercial that's going to be aired 5 times a 30-second TV commercial during the Tokyo Olympics this summer. In fact, because we're in a pandemic and there's not going to be the ability to have a multitude of audiences live, this has been noted as the most epically watched Olympics in history because everybody needs to feel cheerful and excited to watch their gold opportunities come to fruition. And that's why we want you to be part of this. And the foundation is so excited because we know from what they've already told us, a minimum of 204 million people will watch that 30-second commercial. Get excited for the first time in history that there's Olympic athletes that are going to showcase their very best. And what's really interesting and exciting, those athletes are speaking for us. Look at this right on your screen. Andre Casson. For many years, I competed in one of the most stressful events of track and field, the 100-meter dash. I can truly say that chiropractic care aided me in becoming one of the best in the world in the dash. I recently suffered a series of severe strokes. Once again, chiropractic care has been essential in my road to 100% recovery through channeling my nervous system in ways that traditional medicine has not. I fully support chiropractic care for everyone. Now remember, as we lead up into the Olympics, we are going to outline 3 Olympic athletes each month for you to utilize. There's posters, there's social media testimonies, and I encourage you to use these the way that are fit for you. This is a unified profession that is showcasing the benefits of chiropractic care in optimizing performance. Yes, we do a fabulous job of pain, but this is about performance. And if you have a spine, chiropractic is fine. And that's one of the things that I think is going to be a really nice next future. Remember, there are videos available for you to watch. And I'm not going to show them here because I want you to go to our Facebook page and find some of them that are already there. We have Dee Trotter. There's a whole host of them. And I'm really excited to actually be able to showcase them throughout the nation each month. Because when someone speaks for you, it's 1,000 times stronger than us speaking for ourselves.
Hi, I'm Dee Trotter,
and Dee Trotter wants to talk, but we're gonna just bypass that and get on to some of the other things that are extraordinarily exciting. This is the fittest man alive, Rich Froning. CrossFit games are starting up again, which for many of them they've been trying to keep up their training in the last year when they couldn't even go to the gym. Imagine how exciting it's going to be when they all get together and they all start talking. And this podcast go out, The Adjusted Reality, trusted by the adjusted. And the fittest man in the world is there to showcase how he keeps himself in top shape. And if you've ever watched CrossFit games, and I was lucky enough to be part of one of the regional championships, it's intense. And it really does need chiropractic because the events that they go through maximize their biomechanic potentials. And like the Olympics, they're going to need a fine tuning for optimum performance. And that's why sharing these with your patients, hey, I've got this great podcast. It's called Adjusted Reality. It's about the fittest man alive. He weaves gently chiropractic back into it, but don't underestimate the power of gentle because it's coming from him. Our whole purpose to the Adjusted Reality podcast is getting people familiar with what it is. Now we have posters that come out too. These posters are fabulous to share with your high school. Maybe there's an elementary school. Maybe there is a community outreach that you can share and give these posters away as a thank you for those that are involved in making chiropractic part of their lives. So I'd love to share these stories. And you remember, when you touch someone in the Olympic dream or in the athletic world, you never know how far they will go and you never know the experience that they're going to have. And I say that because I want you to listen to Dr. Erica Witter Davis when her podcast comes up. Her story is very touching. And she is the person that's in the commercial, the Olympic commercial. Ideally, our podcasts are meant to engage with healthcare providers, influencers, and celebrities. And one of the best so far of Deepak Chopra and Heidi Havik and Train Your Brain Out of Pain. Remember, we're trying to get the whole gamut. Up to 100 million people are suffering in America right now with chronic pain. This podcast could help them. If anything, if your patient listens to it and they love it, they'll share with a patient, a potential patient in the future. And guess who they're going to come see? You. That's what we want. We want everyone in the nation to see a chiropractor and to find the reason why. Well, there's 5 reasons to train your brain out of pain. And spinal movement is part of it. And who best but you to see them? Now, one of the things that makes me always look back to the foundation's progress is, are the marketing dollars working for you? There's people that have told me I spend $500 a month on a service. But let me ask you this. Is your marketing service giving you an annual report telling you where your name has showed up, how many times it showed up, national recognition, rebutting some of the false information in the media about chiropractic? In fact, it was last week that I wrote to Harvard talking to them about their wellness report that said, if you want to get a spinal manipulative therapy, you can see your medical doctor because it's more likely that it will be paid. Now, if you're sitting there in shock, it's a true story. The reality is the national insurance data provided to me is that less than 3% of spinal manipulative therapy is done by an osteopath. That's not a shocker. 97% of chiropractic adjustments are done by chiropractors. That means 97% of spinal manipulative therapy is done by a chiropractor. So why would Harvard put that in their letter? Is your marketing dollars going to rebutting this type of false information? Are your marketing dollars doing ads and commercials and getting you 204 million people? Are your marketing dollars being spent putting together white papers, infographics, and social media responses with Olympic athletes? Because if they're not, the foundation's here for you. And your membership is what drives a unified voice across the nation. In fact, I'd even go across the world as we get world leaders joining the foundation because they see the quality of our white papers. They see the quality of our electronic books that we send out, our handbooks for CAs. This is why it's so important for us to be able to unify our voice with a national progressive communication pattern. What are the benefits of chiropractic and how do they work? And last but not least, as we go through and look at those marketing dollars, it helps your front desk and it helps your patient. Once they're educated, there's no telling where they're going to take their education. And that's why your marketing dollars have to be committed to an outstanding source that is ethical, that is capable of best practices, that's looking at the research. One last story before I end today. There was a research paper that came out talking about non-concordant care for low back pain. And the foundation looked at that research by Stevens in the JAMA Open Network and thought about how are we going to get this out to the consumers to understand? How are we going to get it out to the healthcare providers to understand? What did the research actually say? Well, we're putting it in everything we can put it in. We're pitching the story. The reality is how a patient is dealt with at the primary care physician level for medical doctors can actually affect the outcome of going from acute low back pain to chronic low back pain. If they're not following the guidelines, which we know are non-pharmacological options, 30% of them are going to go on to chronic low back pain because they were handled wrong in the first place. So we need the healthcare providers out there to understand that non-pharmacological options, especially chiropractic care, can be very efficacious in ensuring that a patient with acute low back pain does not end up as that 30% statistics because non-concordant guidelines were followed. It means that we have an opportunity to share with the consumers that if your low back pain is not dealt properly with, when it's acute, it can end up being a lifelong issue, chronic low back pain. None of us want that. And that's why the foundation is so happy to take on the research and share it with consumers, share it with you so that you can educate the healthcare providers in your neighborhood on what non-concordant care looks like. It looks like a 30% failure for that patient. We don't want anyone in that area. Last but not least, first, I want to thank you. If you have any marketing questions, Alexis Lignos is our marketing director, and she is more than thrilled to be able to help you answer more marketing questions. Last, don't miss next week. Dr. Judd Sprandl, outstanding. Make sure you make the next Tuesday's Facebook Live. I want to thank all of you for joining me today. Take the chance to make the change. Spring into action this spring. Clean up your protocols, use best practices, and make sure that the foundation is part of your arsenal to make progress happen across the nation. Thank you so much. We will see you next month.
Isn't it time you join the most powerful team of successful doctors in chiropractic and go for the gold? Simply go to www.f4cp.org/package and get your customized practice success solution.